Y'all, what's up? We back. I am rocking my first ever wash and go that I didn't immediately snatch up into a hot tub. So it's big, it's wild. I had a good workout this morning, so I sweated and it poofed up a little bit and got a little frizzy. But y'all gonna get all of this type 4 hair love today. So yes, there's that. Did you guys watch my video on natural hair care with my sister Ebony? You should watch it. It has so many good tips and has seriously saved my whole life since I've taken my braids out. So I'm pretty pleased with this. Big hair, don't care. So if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. We talk about faith, we talk about family, we talk about fitness, we talk about food, we talk about fashion, we talk about life, and there's really no filter. So get into it, hit subscribe, and we just gonna talk it out. We're gonna talk it out. Life is crazy and we should be in this thing together. So today we got a good one. We're talking about relationships. The title I know is crazy, right? But we're gonna break it apart a little bit. But before we do that, y'all know we gotta talk about the lip. Yes, we are wearing, it's called Sangria, and it's by the company Milani, the super cheap one you can find in like Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. Their stuff is good quality. It's just not expensive. So this is called Sangria, and it's got a little bit of a purple and pinkish undertone. It's not as drying as a typical matte. It's like in between a matte and a sheen. So I like it. We rocking Sangria today. So let's get into it. So the title, I know it's a little jarring. Like for real, you guys have friends. I know you have friends. You know you have friends, people you would consider to be friends. So to say that you don't have friends is not really accurate. More accurately put, it's how much of a friend are your friends being to you? So real friendship, any relationship, whether it's family, whether it's friendship, whether it is a romantic relationship of any kind, should be about love, right? Like we love our friends, we love our family, we love the people we are dating, we love our spouses. And love is not always comfortable. It's just not. Real love is not always comfortable. It's not always fun. So if you are not having tough conversations, if you're not having real in-depth communications that point out character flaws in you, those people probably aren't really your friends. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I've never had a lot of people that I would consider friends. I'm just not a person who keeps a lot of people around. I have a lot of associates, and that's fine and that's great. But in order to kind of earn the term friend, I just don't throw that term around loosely. But the friends that I have had over the course of my life have always been good quality people. However, what I discovered as I got into my relationship with my husband was that there were some things about myself that my friends should have told me. And maybe they tried to hint at some of the stuff I should have been learning about myself and some of the stuff that stings to hear, but good friends should still be saying it. So maybe they saw those things, but just didn't make it a priority to say. So as I was dating and engaged and then eventually married to my husband, so we've been together for 13 years now. Wow, that's a long time. 13 years, married for 8, going on 9. It has been amazing, like seriously, just absolutely amazing. But in the early years, we suffered some blow up arguments. Like, I mean, bad, that probably could have been avoided if somebody in my life, in my friend circle, in my atmosphere of people that I associated with on a regular basis, made it more of a priority to tell me about myself. Those things a lot of times they're never really easy to hear, but they're a little more digestible coming from a friend or a family member rather than a significant other, especially in the early years of dating. So when you're trying to get to know somebody and you're learning their ways and you're trying to see if a relationship is viable, having real hard conversations that point out character flaws in you aren't the most fun. I'm not saying that a relationship should be abandoned at that point, but it's really hard to kind of get into the murky waters of all of that stuff about you while you're trying to build something with the two of you. You're trying to work on a us thing, but at the same time, you got all of this stuff that could have been worked on as a you thing before you got to that point. So the friends that are in your life now should have the courage, should make it a priority, and should not be afraid, ashamed, embarrassed to point out things that you need to work on before you invite a significant other all up in your space. And then, because what happens is when we have people that are in our lives for a long time, friends, family members, best friends, people we grew up with, etc., they come to know and learn these things about us, and they kind of accept them, and they kind of enable us a little bit if we are not careful and if they are not careful. And then when we get into a relationship with somebody, those things are glaring to them, like glaring. My husband was one of the ones to point out to me that I can be like really stubborn and almost to the point of unmovable. I'm really opinionated, and not that I don't respect or hear other opinions, but when I get something fixated and locked in my mind, it used to be really hard to kind of get out of that. My husband pointed that out pretty quickly, and it didn't feel so good. He was also one of the ones that told me that I have a shutdown reflex. So whenever something didn't go my way, again, I was unflexible, immovable, I shut down. I could go days, and this is when we were living in the same house, I could go days without talking to my husband. Like, there's absolutely nothing right about that. I don't care how angry you are. I don't care how frustrated you are. I don't care how right you are. And that was my thing. I knew I was right. I want you to acknowledge that I'm right. And until you acknowledge that I'm right, we ain't got nothing to talk about. So don't come my way. I'll pass you in the hallway. I'll pass you going to the bathroom. My lips were shut, and I was fine with that. Like that. That's so wrong on so many levels. But he kept putting that before me. Like, you can't do this. We're married. We're in this together. You can't shut down. There is no out. That's not how this works. He kept putting that before me. But trust and believe, he was not the first person I did that to. I had did that to friends. They said something I didn't like, or we got into it and I knew I was right, and we didn't speak until they acknowledged I was right. Via text or call or something. Somebody should have told me about myself, y'all. So your friends, that is what they are there for. If you guys desire to be married, I have said this before, your relationships, your platonic relationships and your family relationships, all of that should be a training ground for your marriage when it comes to communication, when it comes to trust, when it comes to building your character, to showing you those things about yourself that you need to see in order to bring yourself, your best self, to the table of a romantic relationship or of a marriage. That's what those relationships are for. They are meant to show you more of you before you get smacked in the face with this new person who it's like glaring to. Not that they don't love you, and not that there shouldn't be some level of acceptance from them of who you are, but they are absolutely meant to serve as sort of a mirror. So if you ain't got no friends that's telling you about yourself, you ain't got no real friends. And if you aren't telling your friends about themselves, if you are watching things happen in their life, if you are witnessing them making the same mistakes over and over and over again, what kind of friend is you? Like, for real, you guys, let's drop the pretense. Let's drop the stigmas. Let's get rid of embarrassment and talk about the stuff that matters. That's what life is about. If we're not talking about the stuff that matters, why are we talking? Okay? I told y'all, this is talks with no filter. So we're going to talk about it. What are we talking about if we're not talking about the stuff that matters? So get your life, get your friends, And if you realize you ain't got no real ones, get you some real ones who can, in a safe space, tell you about you, and you can tell them about them. And then you can be better prepared for the things that you want later on down the road. So I hope this helps you. I wrote a blog about change and how as people change, we are responsible as active contributors in their lives to change with them. I heard it said that the number one, or the real root reason of every divorce, of every relationship ending, is because one of the two people was unwilling to change. That's an oversimplified explanation, but it is so true. What happens is people make these little changes over the course. So things happen, either a new job or you move or a baby or something, and then they add up. And then because the other person in the relationship either wasn't aware or was not participating in those changes that were happening, boom, something happens and the other person wakes up like, you changed. Well, no, I've been in the process of changing and you stayed the same. So anyway, that was my most recent written blog called What's Changed That Hasn't Changed You? So you can go to my website and read that. Have y'all subscribed? Like, why not? Subscribe. We just talk about real life stuff, the stuff that matters and the stuff that's helped me. I'm shooting it out to y'all in hopes that it will help you too. So hit subscribe, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. You know what I'm going to say? Keep pushing. You've got this.